Be yourself positive. Just another mindset.
Hello, friends, and welcome to a new episode of the Just Another Mindset podcast. We need a paradigm shift if it comes to our economic and social systems. Let us drive this change together. The Just Another Mindset podcast shares inspiration and tangible techniques on how to create seismic shifts in an outdated system, collectively and for individuals alike. My name is Ismael, and each week I bring to you a relevant conversation, message, or theme that will not only entertain you, but help you to change towards a more meaningful and satisfying life. Get encouraged by listening to successful thought leaders, inspiring individuals, and impressive changemakers. Change from within will last and create positive results for all of us. Let us get inspired and embrace collective changes for the better. In today's podcast episode, I'm sharing a very personal review of the year 2023 with you. And I give an outlook for 2024 for myself and also for the Just Another Mindset podcast. I initially intended to record this very message for my closest friends and my family, but after not so long, I decided that I want to share that with each and every one of you due to the fact that you are part of this journey and due to the fact that you seem to enjoy also personal updates of myself, and that obviously has an impact on the Just Another Mindset podcast. So feel free to drop me a message how that resonates with you if you like that kind of content. And of course, I wish you all the very best for 2024. Welcome and hello, everybody, to the first podcast episode in quite some time. Not only for you guys listening, but also for me recording. At least that is very true for solo episodes. And yeah, today I really want to take some time to reflect a little bit on the year 2023 and also to give kind of an outlook for 2024 for myself, but also for the Just Another Mindset podcast, which is most likely the reason you're tuning into. It actually feels really nice to be back and to record, and I'm very much excited to record many more episodes of the Just Another Mindset podcast. It feels very good that I've taken a little creative break, I want to call it, to recalibrate, to rethink a few things. And yeah, today I really want to go through the year 2023, which is one packed with experiences and emotions and feelings. And I also want to share a few things that I have reflected upon about the Just Another Mindset podcast, about myself, and what that means for the podcast and its time in 2024. So when you're ready, let's go and jump in. And what I've done for today's podcast episode is basically I've chosen a couple of pictures that I'm going to use to talk through. So what I have here is an iPad with a couple of pictures, and I'm going to post those pictures for sure also on my Instagram, so you can easily follow along listening to this episode if you're interested with it. I've chosen 12 pictures that I'm going to talk to from 2023. Obviously, this is not the only experiences and adventures that I had, but I try to take the most significant ones. And I'm also not only going to talk to the pictures, but I'm also going to talk to a few more things. And what I also have with me today is like my notebook, which I used to review 2023, which I did a couple of days ago. And I actually didn't think it's going to take much of time. But of course, as it usually does, it takes more time than you expect and than you think. And I also really enjoyed taking the time for it. So I anyways do journal quite frequently, and I also take time for myself to reflect at least quarterly. So if that's something that you're not doing yet, definitely a recommendation. And if you have not yet reflected on your year 2023, I think it gives oneself a very great foundation to start and kick off a new year. And if you have done a reflection of your year 2023 already as well, I would be super curious to hear what your thoughts are. What are the areas that you have grown the most? What are moments that you are grateful for from 2023? And maybe also, what are things that you would like to see more in 2024? So if you have done a proper reflection of the last year and you want to share something, I would be super curious to hear and read from you. So feel free to drop a comment, send me a message, and I'm very happy to chat with all of you already. And with that, let's jump in. And I think it kind of makes sense for today's podcast episode that I give a little bit of context or structure in a way. So I would like to start off talking a little bit about where I was in 2023. So I'm going to take my book actually from over here and I'm going to check because I wrote it down. And my year 2023 started with a New Year's Day in La Palma on the Canary Islands. And from there, for January and February until the 23rd of February, Justina and I lived in Lanzarote. From there, I took an airplane to Germany, where I spent most of my March, let's just say. I spent some time in Essen and Hamburg, in Frankfurt and in Berlin, mainly spending time with friends, celebrating one good friend's birthday, and recalibrating in a way. And then from the 31st of March until May, I was at the traditional Dream Factory in Portugal, Abela. And maybe also a small note for this podcast episode already. There are a couple of very important chapters and places that I will talk about, but I will also record separate podcast conversations about these places by myself. And for traditional Dream Factory, for example, there already is a recorded podcast episode with Sam. And later on, I'm also going to talk about Angstbacka, which is also a place that I'm going to record a couple of podcast episodes about. And there will also be an episode coming out talking with people from Angstbacka, where I'm very excited about to release as well. Well, let's go back to the year 2023. I spent Easter with Justina in Lisbon for roughly 5 days, and I also had a couple of days actually from the 23rd until the 27th of May with her in Poland, where we kind of van lifed before I went to Angstbacka. From the 28th of May until the 20th of August, so basically the full summer, I was in Angstbacka, a festival and retreat center in Sweden. And once more, this is also another place where I'm going to record a couple of more separate podcast episodes about in the near future. And I'm super excited to talk about this place. In fact, I'm actually just coming back from it because I also spent New Year's Eve there. But again, this is something maybe for later during this podcast episode. From the 20th of August until the 5th of September, I drove a van from Sweden down to Greece with a friend of mine, which was also a very interesting adventure. I learned a lot about myself. We learned a lot about ourselves. And it's also just such a beautiful trip from north to south. Very beautiful landscapes. And I was very, very grateful to be able to do such adventures. That was really beautiful. From there, I continued to my hometown in Germany for a week or so to spend time with my family, mainly my nephews and my niece. And then I set my first Vipassana from the 13th until the 24th of September in Poland, actually. And this is another topic where I'm happily going to record a separate podcast episode sometime soon and share that with you guys. The Vipassana had a very big impact on me and my life. And I will definitely record an episode on sitting in Vipassana. And as I have also already served a Vipassana from the 6th until the 17th of December this year, last year actually, I will also make sure to record a podcast episode on that. I'm not sure yet if I will combine sitting and serving or if it will be 2 episodes, but both have been very profound experiences in my life. And then from the 26th of September until the 3rd of December, actually, I went back to TDF, the Traditional Dream Factory, the place in Portugal where we build community, where we create. And yeah, it had a very intense, but also very enriching and very calming and very grounded fall season, all at the same time. And this is also something that I'm going to talk to a little bit about today. And I might reserve another podcast episode for the learnings of TDF for myself in the fall of 2023 as well. It definitely was a very enriching experience, and it was really beautiful that I got to know a couple of new friends there, and was really, really beautiful to welcome so many friends, old and new, to the place in Portugal to show them what we're doing there. And that was really, really heartwarming, and I'm grateful for all of you who have visited so far, and for all of you who are planning to visit. And yeah, in December, on the 3rd actually, I flew back to Poland, something I did not actually expect to happen. But life had different ideas, I guess. So I spent a couple of days in a cabin in the woods in the beautiful snowy landscapes just outside of Warsaw, which was really amazing, very much off-grid. And besides the fact that the airline had lost my luggage, I had a very beautiful and enriching time there, one which I'm very, very grateful for. And after those couple of days, I went back to the Polish Vipassana Center and served my first Vipassana from the 6th until the 17th of December, which again was a very profound experience, and one which I'm going to dedicate a full podcast episode towards. And after that, I spent a couple of days to land in Warsaw, which is a city that I also frequent lately, which is interesting. It's a city I also still very much enjoy and very much like. There's a very good energy for myself. And yeah, amazing things happened over those couple of days in Warsaw again and as well. And then I took a train, because I was in Central Europe already anyways, to Germany, celebrated Christmas with my family, something I hadn't been doing for a couple of years. And on the 26th, actually, I took a train up to the north once more to go to Sweden and celebrate New Year's Eve in Angsbacka. And I was there until the 4th of January, so until very recently. And I'm just coming back to Germany from Sweden, and this is why I also want to take the time to record this episode, to reflect a little bit. And I'm forever grateful to have spent time in Angsbacka again. And I'm also very, very curious for all the chapters, for all the things that are coming in 2024. And with that, I just want to give a little note that I won't have the time to go through all the details anyways. Probably that would be quite lengthy and not super interesting for you guys. If you have any questions to any of the places or to any of the areas or any of the countries that I visited, please feel free anytime to reach out. I'll make my very best to get back to you as soon as possible. And I'm very happy to discuss any questions or any remarks that you have in regard to this. And I've made a habit to choose a couple of pictures for myself that kind of represent the most important, milestones of my years or of my year. And I've chosen 12 pictures for 2023, which was really not easy. There was a lot of stuff going on. It was a very, very active year. I went through a lot. I went through a lot of emotions and feelings. I went through a lot of joy and laughter and gratitude, and also ran through a lot of darkness and pain and many more unpleasant emotions. But I'm forever grateful that I went through all that, because I am now where I am, and I feel very grounded, very safe and very happy and content with where I am. And if you want to follow along, taking a look at the pictures that I'm going to talk to, feel free to do so. You can definitely find them on my Instagram, where I'm going to have a highlight folder, which I'm going to name 23. And there you're going to find the 12 pictures. And I would like to start off with the first one. taken actually on the January the 2nd. It's a picture where I'm standing under a small little waterfall taking a shower. And yeah, this represents for me washing off 2022 and cleansing for 2023. Justina and I were still together, and Justina and I were also on a vacation. So we traveled from mid of December 2022 until beginning of January in 2023 with the Defender, and we did some van life on the Canary Islands, mainly on El Hierro and La Palma. And we went for a very beautiful hike that very day into nature. So yeah, it symbolizes for me the beauty of the Canaries. It's a place that I really love and that I really, want to frequent more regularly as well. And at the same time, it also, highlights something that is coming to an end. So, the Canaries were a challenging part of my life at times. And yet it was really, really beautiful to be there and to witness and to be in nature and to, also be surrounded by such an environment for the things that that we as a couple went through. And that leads me to the second picture, which was taken on the 19th of February on Lanzarote. So also a Canary Island, one where we had then stayed for almost half a year. And it's a picture where I'm seen with my 2 nephews and my niece going for a swim. And this was also the place where I used to swim each and every morning. I used to do my yoga practice just at the pier, and after that I would go for a swim. My family had come down for a week or so, and they joined my habit and they joined my practice. So they came for a swim, and it was really beautiful to be able to share this adventure with them and to share going to the water and going for swims with them. The ocean is some place where I retreat the most. Actually, if I go and dive, if I have my head under the water, this is where I feel home the most. And this was also something that I was missing a lot when we were living in Lanzarote. I didn't feel home. I didn't feel home in myself. And I did not feel home in the environment that I was surrounded with, even though it was a very beautiful surrounding. And for many people, it obviously looked that we are living the perfect life, living on the Canaries and going surfing and being next to the ocean all the time. But in fact, it was a really difficult time for me and for us as a couple. And hence, I left the Canaries a couple of days after this picture was taken. Actually on the 23rd of February towards Germany, because I had to figure out how to reintegrate community back into my life, or how to integrate myself back into community. Most of you probably know that I grew up in community. And besides the fact that I really enjoy nature and traveling and being in the most amazing and most beautiful places on earth, I felt that the lifestyle of the two of us traveling around the world, visiting many different places in very short amount of times, does not serve me. I need more connection with places, with people. And this is something that I had to explore. And it was very difficult to leave Lanzarote. It was very, very difficult to leave Justina as well. And yet I knew that it had to be done. And I knew that I would learn and grow from it. And afterwards, of course, it's easier to talk about it. But I'm also very happy that I took the courage to leave the island, besides having this perfect life. Because for me, on the inside, it very much was not a perfect life. The next picture I've chosen is a little bit fast forward, as it jumps almost 6 weeks into the end of March, which is the arrival date of myself at TDF, Traditional Dream Factory, a place where I would end up spending almost half a year of 2023 at, and a place that I call home, a place that is very special to me, a place that is very dear to me, and a place where I got to know amazing human beings, and I'm forever grateful for it. And I would actually like to read out a note that is put up somewhere in the workshop, I believe, at TDF. At least it was when I took a picture of it. And it gives a brief explanation of what TDF is. And again, there already is a conversation with Sam, also on the Just Another Mindset podcast, about the traditional Dream Factory. And there are likely many more podcast episodes to come with people that I meet and met at TDF. But for now, I want to read out the quote that gives a little bit of a description of what TDF is. We are a model for regenerative co-living, while creating positive loops in all interactions between stakeholders, including nature, all life, and future generations. The idea is to prove we can optimize resources while nurturing a creative and thriving community, and at the same time leave a positive trace on the environment. And that resonates with me so strongly because I deeply care for the environment. I deeply care for human beings, and I also really deeply care to live in community and to surround myself with human beings who want to create something together. So if you haven't visited TDF yet, I would definitely put that on my list for 2024. Come over for a couple of days as a guest, come over for a couple of weeks as a volunteer, or stay even longer. It really is a magical place. Not only the energetic field of the land, but also the people and the activities that are being hosted there. And it's really, really incredible to see who's coming and who's leaving the place. I will talk about that probably later in a bit, but I had the great opportunity to somewhat host almost 15 to 20 people over the season of fall when I came back to TDF. People whom I have met before in my life, or people whom I met in Angsbacka in Sweden. It was so, so beautiful to see people coming back and down to TDF in order to spend a couple of days, or some of them spent a couple of weeks, almost a month there. It was so beautiful to see each and everybody having their own personal experience with the place. And I think all of us can agree that TDF is a very special place, one where we can create together, one where we can play together, and one where we can really make a change in this world together. So make sure to check out Traditional Dream Factory and make sure to come by in 2024. We are very happy to host you there. The next picture I've chosen is from the 11th of April, and it's taken in Lisbon, and it's actually taken by Justina, because we spent Easter together in and around Lisbon. That was a really beautiful time to come back together, to see where we were and to have very deep conversations and to be able to envision coming back together and to envision starting a new life, a different life together. At least that was the hope. We had very good days together, we had good food together, we had a good of laughter together, we had nice walks at the beach together. And yet, I think also both of us realized that there was something between us that we were maybe not able to bridge. But at that point, we were still both eager to try and eager to figure out if we can find solutions for going forward. And it was just a very beautiful weekend, I want to call it, even though it was almost a week, where we spent time in Portugal together and where we explored the city of Lisbon together. The next picture I've chosen is from the 1st of May, and it shows us holding hands before eating food at the Traditional Dream Factory. I would say it's roughly 15-ish people on that very picture. And at GDF, it's a tradition that we eat meals together, 3 meals per day. And those meals are also co-created. So everybody helps out to make lunch at least a couple of times per week. And the same is true for dinner. And it's so beautiful to come together with friends and with strangers, to create food together, to cook together, and to share delicious meals together. And this is really one of the major components that I really love about community life, is creating good food, mainly from what we grow in the garden ourselves, which is amazing, especially if it works like in TDF in Portugal. And then also eating food together and enjoying time together. So this is something that really warms my heart. And this is something that I really take a lot from, and something that I'm definitely going to remember really warmthily and very gratefully from 2023, and in this particular case from May 2023. The next picture I've chosen is a picture from the 23rd of June. It shows Manon and myself during the midsummer celebration in Angsbacka. And for those who are not aware of Angsbacka, it's a festival and retreat center where I chose to spend 3 months this summer. And they have 5 festivals. They have the Midsummer Festival, they have the No Mind Festival, they have a Yoga Festival, they have a Tantra Festival, and then they have a Sexability Festival. So this picture really shows us during the very first festival. And Mano is a fellow coordinator. I chose to be a coordinator for the kitchen. So basically to be the connecting piece between the chefs and the 250 or so volunteers that were busy in the kitchen throughout the summer. In Angsbacka, we had roughly 650 volunteers over the whole summer. And it's a place where a lot is happening, and it's a place where a lot of transformation is happening. Again, I'm going to record podcast episodes by myself about my experiences at Angsbacka. And I already have recorded, and I will publish soon, a couple of podcast episodes with people whom I met in Angsbacka, and I'm super excited for it. Before we go into all the Angsbacka experience throughout the summer, I also in this episode want to read out to you an intention that I set during the very first days that I arrived in Angsbacka, having no idea what's there to expect, what's there to explore, what's there to confront. And I want to share this intention with you, even though it's very personal. But I think it makes good sense, and maybe it also gives you an idea of what kind of place Angsbacka is. So it reads the following. Dear Ismael, it is time to leave Angsbacka. For now or for good is what you know by now. And I hope you had an amazing time. You learn to feel your emotions in such an energetic space. You can take good tools, techniques, and most important connections to build communities out of your stay here. And you're grateful you came. You faced your fears. Maybe you uncovered some unknown challenges and you decided to accept them. You have a lot of fun during the process, and you're happy with the time you have spent here. You take home some deep connections and you commit to nurture and foster such. You are light and shadow. We are all one, and we're grateful. So this is the intention that I wrote down at the very beginning of my stay in Angsbacka. And without saying too much, certainly most of what I intended to get out of Angsbacka, I got out of this time in Angsbacka for sure. It was a time of very deep grief, of very difficult emotions, but it was also a place for great joy, great connection to myself, connecting with other people, and I'm very, very thankful, probably forever grateful for my life, that I went to Angsbacka. And there are hence a couple of pictures in this selection for 2023 that are being taken in Angsbacka, because it's a very, very special place where I will always happily look back to, and where I will also always happily travel back to. And that connects to the next picture that I've chosen, which is taken on the 2nd of July. And it shows a group of volunteers and chefs and people who worked in the kitchen during July. And what I found very interesting, probably I would have chosen this picture anyways, but this is really the only picture that I've taken in July 2023 with my phone. There is not a single other picture on my phone that is dated in July 2023. And that also shows me how much of a place for being present Angsbacka is. It really gives you the opportunity, the space and the structure not to use your phone, not to be distracted by social media or anything else. I know that I anyways don't use my phone as much, But this was, even for me, a very long time of not using my phone for pictures and for anything else at all. And yeah, I'm just so super grateful for Angsbaka, but also for everybody who worked in the kitchen throughout the summer. There were so deep sharings, there were so much joy, there was so much laughter. There were also challenges, but we managed all of them. We made food for a couple of thousand people. And yeah, maybe this is a good space to say thank you to each and every one of you who was involved with the kitchen or with anything else in Angsbaka this summer, because we really made sure that the festivals went smooth and that everybody had such deep transformations, such deep stays, and that everybody also had so much fun, joy, and delicious food. Thank you. The next picture is from the 19th of August, and it's taken actually at the same location, somewhat like the one from July, but it has many, many more people. This is our best attempt to take a proper group picture of people who stayed in Angsbaka for the whole summer. There are a lot of volunteers here, there are a few chefs here, and there are a few residents of Angsbaka here. And this picture really means a lot to me, because quite a few of the people that you see in the picture already do feel like family to me. I made incredible connections, very deep connections, due to the fact that, yeah, Angsbaka is a container where you meet like-minded people and where you meet like-minded people in an authentic way. And yet it's somewhat surprising to me how quickly and how deeply those connections got. And yeah, it's too many people in this picture to mention specific names here, and I would also, of course, forget names. But regardless of if you're in the picture, if you're not in the picture, if you're part in one way or the other of the summer in Angsbaka, I'm forever grateful for your contribution and for everything that you've done. And I'm very much looking forward to spend many more years, summers, and adventures together with you. I'm very grateful, and yeah, I really want to say thank you. And for everybody who's interested in going to Angsbaka, I think by now it's already possible to apply as a volunteer for one of the festivals mentioned. Actually, this summer there's going to be 2 more, or to apply as a coordinator or as a full summer volunteer. So regardless of whether you've been to Angsbaka before or not, I highly recommend to check out the festivals this summer, one of which is going to be super exciting for me myself as well, which is the GEN, the Global Eco-Village Network annual gathering, which is taking place from the 20th until the 25th of August, and I'm definitely going to be in Angsbaka for that. But there are so many more crazy and good and juicy and nice and enriching festivals, and I very much encourage you to check out Angsbaka and to take the courage to learn more about yourself, to become more authentic with yourself. And you will not regret going to such a place and surrounding yourself. So check out the website Angsbaka and make sure to visit one or all of the festivals this summer. It really is a life-changing experience. I can say that for myself, and I also know that there are so many other beautiful human beings who experience the same throughout the summer. So you're very welcome to join us for the next summer. The next picture shows my niece and myself, and it's taken on the 6th of September. So after Angsbaka, I actually, together with a friend I got to know in Angsbaka, traveled a van from Sweden to Greece for 2.5 weeks, roughly, which was an amazing experience by itself. There might also be a podcast episode coming about this particular travels, but it was really an interesting journey to get to know myself better, to also land in a way after and integrate the whole summer that had taken place, and also to do that together with a friend. We had an amazing journey, and after a couple of days in Thessaloniki in Greece, which was my final destination of this journey, I flew to Germany to spend a couple of days with my family, with my nephews and with my niece. And you can see my niece and myself having a beautiful, funny day in the big park during the summer. We went to the pet zoo and we had a picnic and we just enjoyed ourselves, and it was really, really beautiful. to spend time with her. I believe we also did our nails just before we got out into the sun. And yeah, it just symbolizes the great connection that I have with my family, and in particular with my nephews and my niece. And it also gives me so much energy to spend time with them and to have one-on-ones with them, or to take all three of them out at a time. So yeah, this was also really a joyful memory from my summer, which helped me to again integrate and land a little bit after everything that had taken place throughout the summer. And only a few days later, after this picture was taken, I went back to Poland by train in order to sit my first Vipassana. And obviously there's not so many pictures of that, but it's definitely a super strong experience from 2023. Also a very strong experience from September 2023. And as I said, I'm going to have a separate podcast episode on my sitting and also my serving of the Vipassana. But it really helped me to, from Greece, go to Germany, meet my family for a couple of days, to then go into silence for 10 days. And I'm very excited actually to talk about in more depth about my first Vipassana, what I took away from it, and why I recommend each and everybody to at least consider taking a Vipassana for themselves as well. The next picture I've chosen is taken on the 14th of October in the what I call jungle gym, back at the traditional Dream Factory. And it's such a beautiful picture for myself with four guys funnily posing because they just did some sports. And why is that? In the picture you see friends that I got to know in different places and in different phases of my life. There's one of my very best friends whom I know for a couple of years now, who came to visit. There is one of my very best friends whom I only got to know in the summer, but who is so deeply connected with me that I can already name him one of my best friends. And there is another very good friend whom I got to know at TDF and who's also very, very dear to me. And this picture is just such a great example or confirmation of how much beauty and how amazing human beings this TDF attracts, and how grateful I am that people come and visit me and that they are curious to see what we are building, what we are creating together. And I'm just so grateful, and I'm so happy, and I'm so content to call all these three men that are with me in the pictures my brothers, and that we had so much fun that we could just also joke around and do some sports and have fun and listen to stupid music and have funny conversations and have deep conversations. And it's just so beautiful to, again, to all three of you, but of course to everybody who visits me, who visited me over the past couple of years while I was traveling, who visited me in this specific place of TDF, and who also visited other people in TDF or in other places. It's so amazing to get the support, and it's so amazing to create the connection. And that is why I chose this very picture, because it really, really means a lot to me. It really means a lot of, comradeship, and it really means a lot of friendship, and it really means a lot of connection, which is, all things that make me thrive in life. And the next picture is basically a continuation of this. It's taken on the 6th of November. And it's basically a group of people I got to know in Angsbaka, some of which are people that I really sincerely, dearly look up to a lot. I can learn so much from you guys, and it's amazing that you came to visit me and our project in Portugal. It means so much to me. I do remember the moment when we first discussed that, people want to come down to TDF and want to come visit. It was like, wow, you guys want to come down? That's such an honor, and that's so great. And this picture shows the 6 of us who had met in the summer in Angsbaka in Sweden. And we are now just after a sharing in Portugal. So we basically came together to speak what's true to us, and then we took a picture afterwards. We were sitting on one of the hills at TDF, one of the most beautiful spots on the land actually, and we just had a lot of joy, a lot of laughter, and a lot of connection. And it really, really does mean a lot to me that all of you guys came to visit, and it also really means a lot for TDF that you guys can visit. And it's just such beauty that we create this cross-pollination of amazing places, of amazing human beings. And I'm forever thankful that you're part of my life. And I'm also forever grateful that the person in the next picture, which is taken the 20th of November, is part of my life. It's one of my very best friends, Jeremiah, and we went for a van life vacation, let's just call it, in the end of November, where we just traveled around for a week. And this picture shows the two of us after a naked bath in the cold ocean. Actually, it was quite dark. I think 5 minutes later we could not have taken this picture anymore, but it was so much fun. It was like really, really connecting. Also to have this one-on-one space with somebody else. And again, it means a lot to me because I nurture and I value friendships so much, and this was just really beautiful for me also to explore more of the country in Portugal, because I had stayed by that time almost half a year of 2023 in Portugal, and I had not really seen much. And the opportunity to travel around with the van through Portugal was just such a beautiful way of getting to know the land better, of getting to know our connection better, and our friendship, and also myself and he for himself. So this is also an experience that I'm very, very grateful for, and that I will always remember. And that leads me to the final picture of today's podcast episodes. And I must say, for December, it was really difficult to choose a picture again. And I chose one that is taken on the 5th of December. And it's a picture of the hut somewhere in the middle of nowhere in Poland in the snow, in which I was staying together with someone I got to know at TDF. And we took the decision that we want to get to know each other better. And this picture really symbolizes new beginnings for me. It symbolizes letting go of things, of places, of people that don't really serve us anymore, and being courageous and being open to explore new connections and new relationships. And those couple of days in the woods were very deep for me and myself. The whole December was. There's much more. That's why I said there it was so difficult to choose a picture. But for me, this one is really a nice image that will always remind me that it's good to be adventurous, that it's good to do crazy things in a way, and that it's always good and advisable to follow your heart regardless of where this will take you. And with that, we've taken a look at a couple of pictures actually, and there is so much more, of course. As I said, I just came back from the New Year's event, or the New Year's celebration in Angsbaka, which was really, really beautiful, where I was also able to put things together in a way. I took people from TDF, I took Sam and Luna from TDF up to Angsbaka. I took one of my best friends, Jeremiah, up to Angsbaka, and I met so many amazing human beings, again, with whom I had spent so much time in the summer. I'm not going to mention too many names here because it's really too many, but you're all loved and I all have you very deeply in my heart. And it was such an amazing celebration, fostering existing connections and deepening certain connections and also making new connections. And I'm very, very grateful for everything that has taken place in 2023. Even though it was not so easy, because I am very happy with where I am now. And I've hinted in the very beginning of this podcast episode that I've just journaled and kind of summarized, reflected on my year 2023. And it took a couple of hours, and I've actually used more than a full notebook, something that I hadn't expected before just starting to write. And there are just a few sentences that I want to read out and share with you today, because I think they are relevant. At least they are relevant for me. And I hope that they can be relevant for you. And yeah, I want to do that. And after that, I would invite us to take a look at the year 2024, the Just Another Mindset podcast, and what's to come. But before we go there, let's take a look at some reflecting sentences that stuck with me from the year 2023. And just a note, I'll leave those sentences, those quotes, those reflections uncommented. And if you want to share something with me in regard to them, if they resonate with you, or if you have anything that you have to say about it, please feel free to reach out, send a message, leave a comment, and I'm already very excited to talk with you about those, or maybe your own reflections of the year 2023. I had to ground myself internally in order to find contentment and real, lasting joy. I'm letting go of a lot of old stories, patterns, and people that don't serve me anymore. And I'm open and curious for the next chapters and new adventures. I'm forever grateful to have taken the courage to really explore my inner self, and by that being able to reconnect to my feelings and my inner joy. I have the skill to form and lead teams, and this is the greatest security I can think of. I don't need anything else. If you take my money, possessions, and even all my friends and family tomorrow, this skill will remain, and I can rebuild whatever we need and want, regardless of where we are. And I chose to share these because for me it's also important to speak what's true and what's relevant for me. It helps me to process my different topics, my different themes. There's still a lot of stuff that I'm working on, but I'm very, very grateful for each and everything that happened in 2023. And I'm at a very good place to kick off the year of 2024. And with that, let's maybe take a brief glimpse at 2024. I'm recording this at the beginning of January, and I'm actually going to take a train tomorrow to go to southern Germany for a couple of days, where I have a few work-related things to do. And then I will take a flight to India in a couple of days, where I'm going to spend 2 months, in fact. And I'm very, very excited for this adventure, but also for this coming home. When I endeavored into 2023 and I wanted to figure out how to reintegrate myself into a community, or how to reintegrate community back into my life, I was not ready to go back to Orville, to the community where I partially grew up in, because I wanted to get to know new places. I wanted to get to know new faces and new people. And hence this journey has taken me to Portugal, to Sweden, and I take so much from it. But at the same time, I'm now ready to go back to Orville, to meet old friends who are still around, and to take a look at the place, and also to figure out where this place is developing towards and what my friends are up to. So I'm going to do that, and I'm also going to do a whole lot of yoga in February 2024, before coming back at the beginning of March of 2024, and then basing myself somewhat more regularly in Central Europe. And due to that, I will also not record and publish many more podcasts until March this year. So I just wanted to give you a quick review of my year 2023, and then let you know that I am coming back in 2024, but this will be a comeback in March or after March. And I'm not exactly sure when the first episode of the Just Another Mindset podcast in 2024 will be released, but I have already recorded quite a few episodes with people whom I look up to a lot, with people whom I've learned from a lot, and I'm super excited to publish those episodes. And I've mentioned a couple of solo episodes on different topics like Angstbaka, TDF, Vipassana, maybe some travels as well. I'm sure that also the travels now to India will give me a lot of information and insights that I'm very open and eager to share with you guys. But yeah, I just want to give you a heads up for the next 2 months. I'm actually going on vacation, as I want to call it. And then the Just Another Mindset podcast is coming back somewhere towards the second quarter of 2024, and then also more regularly again. And I'm very much looking forward to that. And with this, if there is anything that you want to share with me about the Just Another Mindset podcast, about the places or about the experiences that I've shared with you, please feel free to send me a message, to leave a comment. And if you believe that this podcast episode or any other episode of the Just Another Mindset really can help and benefit a friend or a relative of yours, share the episodes, share the links, and I would be forever grateful for your support. And with that, I wish you a beautiful rest of the day. I don't know exactly when you're listening to this. And I wish you a beautiful week, a beautiful month. And I'm very much looking forward to talking to you again towards the end of March, when I will be able to publish many more episodes of the Just Another Mindset podcast. Thank you. If you enjoy this podcast and learn from it, please feel free to share this episode with a friend or two, and make sure to subscribe to the Just Another Mindset podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please use the next 10 seconds to give the Just Another Mindset podcast a rating, and know that you will help me to create more meaningful content like this, and also that it will help other people to find this content and get inspired as well. If there is any future topic or guest that you would like to hear more about on the Just Another Mindset podcast, please let me know by leaving a comment on YouTube or sending a mail directly to contact@ismaelwondergarten.com. And if nobody told you lately, be reminded that you are worthy, you matter, and you can achieve anything.